Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, my students. How are you today? Hopefully you are great, right? So before we start our lesson for today, I would like to exercise you to do your pre-task. So please do this pre-task. I give you 10 minutes to complete the pre-task that I given to you. What do you feel, my students, after you all did the pre-task?
Those questions are so difficult, Miss.
Yes, Miss, we don't know the correct tense that we must use to complete the sentences of our pre-task.
Okay, this tense that you look at in your pre-task will be the topic of our lesson for today. Now, we are going to learn about past continuous tense.
Alright, Miss.
So, my students, the past continuous, or also called as past progressive, is a verb tense which is used to show that ongoing past actions was happening at a specific moment of interruptions, or that two ongoing actions were happening at the same times. Here, Miss is going to explain about 2 points of past continuous tense. The first is past continuous forms. The past continuous is formed using was or were plus present participle. Questions are indicated by inverting the subject and was or were. Negatives are made with not. So, for the statement, you can write or you can say you were studying when she called. And for the questions, were you studying when she called? And for the negative, you were not studying when she called. Okay, my students, before we go so far, I would like to give you 2 questions that related to our explanation just now. Please look at the picture that I have given to you. There are 2 questions. The first question is, what blank 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 at 8 o'clock last night? And for number 2, when I go to work, I realized that I blank 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 my watch. Now, who can answer those questions? Please raise your hand.
Number 1 is C, Miss.
Number 2 is B, Miss.
Okay, good job, my students. Your answers are correct, right? So that means I can conclude that you got my explanation so far here. Okay, now let's continue our lesson for today. The number 2 is past continuous uses. The first use is interrupted actions in the past. Use the past continuous to indicate that a longer actions in the past was interrupted. The interruptions is usually a shorter actions in the simple past. Remember, this can be a real interruptions or just an interruptions in time. Example, I was watching TV when she called. When the phone rang, she was writing a letter. While we were having a picnic, it started to rain. What were you doing when the earthquake started? And the last is I was listening to my iPod, so I didn't hear the fire alarm. And for the use number 2 is specific time as an interruptions. In use 1, described above, the past continuous is interrupted by a shorter actions in the simple past. However, you can also use a specific time is an interruptions. Example, last night at 6 p.m. I was eating dinner. At midnight, we were still driving through the desert. And the last, yesterday at this time, I was sitting at my desk at work. So this is important, I think. In the simple past, a specific time is used to show when an action began or finished. In the past continuous, a specific time only interrupt the actions. For example, for the simple past, last night at 6 p.m. I ate dinner. This is the example of simple past. But when we change the tense into the past continuous, so the tense or the sentences will be I started eating at 6 p.m. And for the example number 2, last night at 6 p.m. I was eating dinner. And for the past continuous tense, the sentence become I started earlier. And at 6 p.m. I was in the process of eating dinner. And the use number 3, parallel actions. When you use the past continuous with 2 actions in the same sentence, it expresses the idea that both actions were happening at the same time. The actions are parallel. Example, I was studying while he was making dinner. While Ellen was reading, Tim was watching television. Were you listening while he was talking? I wasn't paying attention while I was writing the letter, so I made several mistakes. Okay, my students, do you have any questions? Or everything is already clear?
Yes, Miss, we got it.
Okay, before we end this class, I will exercise you with the pause task. It aims to see what you understand for during the explanations that I have given to you. So I can conclude that this lesson is successful or not after you did the pause task, okay?